First order of business, project description submissions are now closed. So we will have 10 participants in the Voltron Hackathon for seasons 2 and 3. I updated the project list and put a link in the chat. So it has all the projects with and without submissions. And for projects who were already discussed in the last meeting, I put like a little icon next to it with a speaking person. And then if your project has a number next to it, this is basically just the order of submission. Last meeting, we went through the proposals in order of submission. I think it would make sense to do the same again today. And let's see. So first of the new submissions was Mikey J. Is Mikey J here to present his project if he wants to? No. Do we ping him?
You can if you want. I'm not sure if he is online. He hasn't really been around, so he may have not known that he needed to kind of present it in that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a requirement. It's just nicer if the person who actually wrote it is the one presenting it. But we can just like check it out on our own if he's not available.
Yeah, from what I remember, it was pretty straightforward. It wasn't like super complicated.
Okay, so I think I'm just gonna read it so that we can discuss it afterwards. Aavegotchi Deals Club Voltron Hackathon project and Mikey J joined. Project summary. The Aavegotchi Deals Club is a project designed to enhance user experience on the Aavegotchi Bazaar by offering real-time deal analysis for wearables. It provides critical data to buyers and sellers, empowering them to make more informed decisions. This tool is ideal for both new entrants who need guidance and seasoned power users looking to expand their collections. I am proposing to release an initial working minimum viable product as part of the Voltron Hackathon, which plans to expand on the idea in the future if the tools prove useful to the community. MVP description. This MVP will be a straightforward single-page UI displaying live top deals from the bazaar. The deal scoring for the MVP release is determined using single metrics such as the percentage below recent market prices for each item. When components to forge a wearable are available on the bazaar, the site will cross-compare the costs of purchasing the components to the cost of purchasing the full wearable. At this stage, the MVP will focus exclusively on wearables. 3. Tech stack. Python, including pandas, scikit-learn, and Streamlit, and PostgreSQL. Future possibilities. While the MVP is set to provide a valuable service, I envision future enhancements that would significantly amplify its impact. For example, sophisticated pricing algorithms. The introduction of machine learning algorithms would allow for advanced price predictions and deal scoring for ERC 1155 items, especially when trading volumes for specific items are low. ERC 721 assets handling. A trained machine learning model will be implemented to manage multi-featured ERC 721 assets like Aavegotchis and realm parcels, providing a more comprehensive service to users. Discord integration. Introduce a notification system via Discord that would alert users to hot deals as soon as they appear on the bazaar, giving them a competitive edge. Interactive UI. A key future goal is to develop a dynamic user-friendly interface complete with interactive charts. This will allow users to explore price data for each wearable turning data into insights. Anticipated impact. By empowering users with real-time accurate data and insights, the Gotchi Deals Club is poised to improve the Aavegotchi Bazaar experience. I anticipate that the platform will promote transparency, increase user confidence, and stimulate trading activity on the bazaar. Conclusion. By delivering a tool that improves users' experiences and helps them make better trading decisions, I am excited to contribute to the Aavegotchi ecosystem's growth and sustainability. Very, very nice by Mikey J here. Any thoughts, comments?
Not sure if you guys are familiar with Seza, who did Gotchi World. They have a companion extension kind of thing, and this seems like that on steroids, because that only works specifically for your Gotchi rather than caters towards traders in any way. So this would be cool to see, because I do a lot of just like regular trading of wearables and forge stuff and that kind of thing without any intention to put it on my Gotchi or anything like that.
Yeah, I also think it's super useful. I also heard about this extension, but I haven't checked it out myself. But like making it available to everyone and even having Discord alerts, I think this will be really great for our ecosystem. And yeah, not sure if he wants to make it open or put it behind a paywall or something. Maybe I read it and forgot it already. But it seems either way like a really cool thing.
That was my main question, because you say it is a club. So yeah, is it going to be a free-for-all project, or is it going to be a kind of access restricting, or basically a paid access or premium access or whatever you want? That's, I don't know. The club thing is that, like, if it's a club, there's a way to enter the club, basically. That's the only thing that maybe tells me it's not going to be free and open. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It would be nice if it is clarified, because it's a point we haven't discussed at any point yet. But is a project that is going to generate revenue, if it goes, if a project is planned to generate revenue in the future, is it eligible for the hackathon at the same way all other projects are?
I mean, we need a way to test it. So
yeah.
At least for some period, it needs to be available for testing so that we can evaluate whether it actually works.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, any more comments about Mikey J's project?
Oh, that's good for me.
All right, then let's move on to the next one. Which would be Aavegotchi Kit by Inunmai. Is he here? Doesn't look like it. Okay, let's ping him. And while we wait for him to respond, because I saw he's online, let's maybe move on to the next project. LV is also not here.
Yannick's here. He's number 4.
Sorry, come again?
Said Yannick's here. He's number 4, so I guess he could go next.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yannick, you want to go next?
Yes, good evening. So I would just simply tell a few words about my project. That's what is needed, right? Like project presentation.
Yeah, exactly. Just share a little bit more details about your project.
So as you know, we have a lot of experience in Dark Forest, but Dark Forest game right now it's paused with development, and it evolved into framework which called mud.dev, and this framework is very good to build these fully on-chain games where you receive, for example, what you receive out of the box. You receive composability with other blockchain assets. You receive online, basically because every user is on chain, so you have this like online world where you can do some actions. So it is very engaging, and what I want to do is basically marry Dark Forest with Aavegotchi assets, and use this mud framework to build a round-based game, which will be fully on-chain. It will use only on-chain numbers. For example, for Aavegotchi, there are like 9 numbers which can be parsed from character. So I plan to build the game using these assets, mainly Aavegotchi and variables. How it will look? At first, I will need to sync all the assets from Aavegotchi protocol. It is doable on chain, meaning MUD can read properties from Aavegotchi NFTs. And after this, I will have this like a representation of Aavegotchi protocol within a MUD framework. And after this, I can start building on top of it. So I can add some experimental actions, moves, so some additional parameters to the Aavegotchi. And that's how I want to proceed. It is in the early stage because it's not so easy right now to develop on blockchain. With MUD, it might be easier, but like it is hard. So, but it will take some time. But I see big progress from this MUD framework, and it is already much easier to build on top of the MUD in comparison to like old days. Yeah, this is in few words about my projects. Any questions you have?
Well, it sounds super awesome, but it also sounds like really complex. So since the hackathon ends next month, what areas will you focus on for your MVP?
I will, with this 1 month, I want to cover Aavegotchi protocol synchronization, meaning I will have wrapper for all assets inside MUD, and after this I can proceed with other mechanics with expansions. But I think I can cover within this 1 month. I can cover basically wrapper for MUD. For Aavegotchi assets, and yeah, it will take a long time, but I have a time until deployment. So until supernet deployment, and it is still like 6 months probably. So there is still a time to build as well.
I had a question. So are you going to be wrapping all of the assets, and then we can just go ahead and just access the MUD, and then that's how we can pull in the assets to our games, is through your framework that you're going to build?
Yeah, that's the idea. So in general, you should provide some assets ID or have predefined all the assets, some snapshot, software can pull current state from a subgraph and sync all the data to your framework. I think it's doable.
Can you also
and
do-
after this, others game can basically reuse it as well. If they want to build some other genre or type of the game, it will be awesome if we have like this a few games in this direction.
Gotcha. So basically, you're just wrapping all the Gotchi assets and having it available for us to use in our games. Then, if I'm understanding this correctly.
That's what I want to solve because I need it for my game as well. So I can share it if there will be interest from for the mod.
And then land assets can also be applied too, right?
Yes, basically every number which is on blockchain can be parsed.
Sounds really great. Any further comments on the project?
I have just speaking. I just completed the sentence by Yannick. Basically, there is possibility the math copy the current contracts. Basically, he replicate the current contracts. That means everything what you have in the contracts you implement inside the math code. So I learned.
I don't think it should be everything. It should be only assets. Because, for example, pet, I cannot implement. In the end, you will have. Ideally, you would like to have a bridge and just one kind of asset. But for initial state, you can use build like this only synchronization only. I think it should be enough for initial stage.
Yannick, hi. I have a question regarding the name of the game, the Murky Forest. What are the common points with the Dark Forest itself, where it is space exploration, planets, and so on? How do you link that to Gotchis?
Hi, FIFO. So the name is common. Murky Forest is because it's like merge. Ghost plus Dark Forest, and this name is represent the perfect merge. But regarding the map, right now we use procedural map generation because maps cannot be so big because they are stored on blockchain. Yeah, I think it will be common with Dark Forest. We will use same procedural, same algorithms to generate similar algorithms to generate the map because it's the only way to do it for the on-chain game right now.
Okay. It's a big project anyway. I have to agree with CryptoGotchi on that. It's a big thing. But
long-term project, yes.
Yeah. It's interesting, and I saw the mod documentation. It's very unusual and I would say new kind of solution because using kind of an ORM inside the blockchain, it's some totally overkill at first, but then you manipulate a lot of data and you're not sure. And I guess with the Gotchi chain coming up, it is a good shot because Gotchi chain should make it easier to handle bigger transaction because it will be cheaper, it will be faster also. So I think it makes sense in that regard.
Yeah, thank you. I think the technology is looking good enough to build the first engagement, and as we build the game, the blockchain itself, it will scale. And yeah, thanks for feedback.
Welcome.
All right. Then, unless there are any further comments, let's move on to the next one on the list. Unless some of the other persons we shouted out have joined us yet, but it doesn't look like it. So the next one would be Light Piglet.
So yeah, mine's pretty self-explanatory. Basically want to put a Raspberry Pi with a stripped down version of Linux on it. Try to make it as lightweight as possible to give the device the best performance. As we all know, the Gotchiverse isn't the best when running even on a desktop. I get terrible lag, so gonna need to make sure that works in and out pretty well, which I'm not sure about. I have the Raspberry Pi here already for the Raspberry Pi 4. That's going to be a more expensive unit. I'm trying to get the Zero W2 still. I'm still having supply issues with that one. But that one would be under $100. So that's the price point I'm going for, and that's the device I would really like to create. But hopefully I'll be able to put people in the Gotchiverse, be able to pet their Gotchis, battle in the arena, and play mini games, which is just Gotchi Heroes for now. And then there's the possibility of the Bazaar. I think you'll be able to buy no problem in a regular listing, but bidding and that kind of stuff might be a little bit trickier, as well as the lending functionality. So I'm going to test some things with the mapping. Maybe I'll be able to have like a text pop out, so then you can kind of have a little keyboard to type with. Just have the number pad there. And yeah, I just wanted to be clear that it's not a wallet. You'll have to use your own wallet. I don't want to put a wallet on this. You'll be in charge of your private keys. I don't want to touch those. And yeah, the end goal is to make it open source and free, and people will be able to just buy their own stuff, flash an SD card, and get going.
Sounds awesome. If you don't want to handle keys, so how will you handle authentication?
So it'll be just a like browser shortcut that'll cut to the Aavegotchi dApp, and then you'll be able to use Wallet Connect, which is broken right now, so that's not going to work. But you should be able to use a browser extension wallet like MetaMask or Rabby or whatever you choose. Frame would be out of the question because it needs a desktop companion, but Rabby and MetaMask would be the two that I'm going to test to start.
So then, sorry, just so I understand, would that require setting up MetaMask on the device itself?
Yes, but it would just be a regular browser, no different than it'd be a version of Chromium. So Google Chrome, it has extensions in the same way. You'd be able to verify that it's the same MetaMask app that you typically use.
Okay,
and you'd be flashing that. Yeah, you flash the SD card yourself so you can make sure there's nothing funky on there.
Yeah, sounds very exciting. I was looking forward to a hardware project for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, making something that's like truly dedicated to Aavegotchi within its own app is a much bigger project, but this is the like most cost-efficient way to do it right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, the first hardware-based project for Aavegotchi, I would say, for the Aavegotchi ecosystem. At least the one I heard of. It's very interesting, and yeah, it is the first for you to play with Raspberry Pi and do those kind of stuff with hardware, or are you used to it?
Not the first time. I've like built my own computers since I was like 14 years old. I have a couple Raspberry Pi 4s. I was trying to do this originally with the Zero 2W. Those have been out of stock in the US for months, and they have not come back in stock. I have all the notifications on. So I tracked down a case that works for the Raspberry Pi 4, which I have. It's just a much higher price point. The device is much more powerful, so if I can give people the options and I know both work, that'll be great. So I'm going to test both.
Cool.
I have the question about the operation system. Do you have trying the new Ubuntu, the 18.4, or do you already the 20.0 something? Because I also foresee issue with the 20 point. With the 18 was everything fine for me, for my things.
No, it won't be running any regular Ubuntu versions. It'll be running a different flavor of Linux. Yeah, there's much more like lightweight gaming focused versions for the Raspberry Pi specifically for browser-based games. So I'll be testing a few different versions of those.
Okay, definitely will follow your research because I have also the Raspberry Pi 4 at home and yeah, it's not used, only 10%.
Yeah, I've tried to put Ubuntu on my Raspberry Pi 4 and it runs like crap, so that's definitely not what I'm going for. I
am on the 8 gigabyte RAM and I'm very satisfied.
Mine's only the 4, so that is perhaps the difference.
Okay, any further comments or should we move on? So I see we've got Inunmai in the house now, so maybe we double back to his project description about Aavegotchi kit if you want to share some words about it. Okay, looks like he's gonna need a minute. So while we wait, let's move on to the next one, which would be user default, Gotchinopoly.
Yeah, what's up, you guys? So, I'm just trying to create for the MVP basically a simple version of Monopoly, but have it Aavegotchi themed. So you would basically have your Aavegotchi as a token to move around the boards. And like I said, for the MVP, it's strictly going to kind of be the same Monopoly game that we're all used to. The only difference is I will try to implement a wagering system for the MVP, so we can play a round of Monopoly. Oh, it's also going to be multiplayer for right now. It's going to be 1 versus 1. But yeah, 2 players can go in there. I don't know how much really but let's just say I don't know, you bring in 100 foot each. Winner takes all. Basically, is kind of how it is. The game takes a 5% of the winnings. 2%, 2.5 of it gets burned. The other 2.5 goes to the developer team, essentially. And that's just basically for the MVP that I'm making. For the V2 is what I want it to get is I want to turn it, instead of being turn-based, I want to turn it to real-time based. So that way you can just move your Monopoly, your little Gotchi around the Monopoly board. The premise is, we're replacing all the Monopoly tiles with, Gotchiverse parcel tiles. If you are a owner of a parcel in a district. So basically, let me back up. So the way the board's going to work is the first beginning side of the board, which is usually like the lower end, which is going to be consistent of districts 40 to 31. Think of it like that. And then the other side of the board will be like 30 something to 28 to 20, and then 20 to 11, 11 to basically district 1, basically. Anything from 40 to 50 will be considered a chance or a community card, and those cards will have a special function, and I'll get to that later. So the premise of the V2 is both Gotchis run around the board. Every time you go around the board completely, you then receive some Alchemica, so you can go out there and you can buy properties. The way you buy a property in the game is you have to run and stand on top of the tile for more than 20 seconds. Once you've been on the tile by yourself for 20 seconds, you will then have the option to purchase the tile, basically, so you can start building houses. If an opponent is on the same tile as you at the same time, then you both have to either battle it out, or someone has to move on in order for you to continue to, complete your 20 seconds to buy the tile. Once you have a tile, depending if you are a landowner, and if you have, let's say you go to, I don't know, tile 27, and for some reason you own an actual parcel in District 27, depending on the type of tile, so if you have, like, say, a humble, then you will be able to build a tower on a humble location, basically on the tile. And this tower, basically, when your opponent goes into your district, basically has to cross your tile, since he automatically enters your tile, the rent that you get normally charged gets deducted from that Gotchi's bank. But your tower then also has a chance to try to steal more money from him by hitting him with, like, fireballs or something like that. Obviously, if you have a bigger tile or like a spacious tile, your tower can hit you anywhere in the tile that you're running in. If you have a humble, it'll only have a certain amount of range. Same kind of thing like that. Certain land parcels will have metadata that we will hold that will give you, special little fun little features for your tower, just to help balance out everything. The next feature is we're going to replace the free parking, and we're going to turn that into the Aave protocol, like a little monopoly protocol of an Aave, where you can actually deposit your deeds that you have, and the bank will then actually let you borrow against it, like leverage, so you can go out and upgrade your lands a lot faster. And this is where now the chance and the community cards come in, because the Monopoly game will have Ghost as, like, the base currency, essentially. And whenever you get a chance or community card, those cards will either swing the market up or swing the market down. So if you do put your deed down on as collateral to borrow money so you can go build more, so you can kill your opponent faster, if, let's say, your opponent gets, like, a community chest card and it, like, downs the market, if you don't have enough money in your bank, then you can potentially get your deed liquidated, and it then becomes open again for the opponent to go and grab that tile from you. The round is supposed to be a maximum of 10 minutes. Every Gotchi has 1 minute to circle the board, or else you will start, or the game will implement like a punishment. Will just start draining your money until you actually make your complete circle around the board. So it kind of forces a Gotchi to have to move around the board, or else you just get drained automatically by the game. If both Gotchis can't kill each other by the end of the 10 minutes, then the money goes to the game, where 50% of it we just burn, and the other 50% of it we use it to upgrade any of the land parcels that we're going to use to buy. Because eventually the whole goal is to have enough altars to supply the game with enough alchemica for people to come in and play, like, a single player mode where they play against a computer. Their ranking on their single player mode will have, like, a leadership board, and then top, I don't know, 100 or top 200 players get, like, just like how we do rarity farming, they get a part of the bonus from whatever alchemica we get from these altars.
Wow, sounds really complex and also really cool. I'm a big fan of Monopoly, and can't wait to try that out. 2 questions. First, about balancing. It seems that you will have quite a few mechanics. Have you thought about how to properly balance the game so that it doesn't get too one-sided if the people who play it are not comparable in terms of their assets and Gotchi holdings?
Not in the slightest at the moment. That's like the last thing on my mind right now. I just want to even get this game to even work. But yes, eventually I will go over and review, like, after we play the game for a couple times, to see, like, what's like the bad sides of the balancing. Then I can go back, take the data, and then we'll figure out how to rebalance everything. But the goal is, so you can get, like, a really crappy Gotchi, go in there, and it will also have some kind of an advantage over, let's say, a Godlike, which, I don't know, maybe Godlikes can run around the board a lot faster or something like that. And maybe the slow ones, maybe they get a better discount, or maybe when they complete a whole circle, they get maybe double the amount of alchemica. Instead of getting 200, they said, like, they get 400 when they go around the goal tile. Stuff like that. But right now I just kind of want to make sure I can actually get this game to work.
Yeah, sure, that's understandable. It's quite a lot. And another question I had is, you mentioned that a ghost will be the currency of the game. Is that a real ghost or some fake version of ghost?
That will just be a fake version that will pertain to just every single game. It starts off at let's say $1. And as the game goes on, like the price will go up. But the moment someone gets a chance card, it either spikes it up high or it tanks it basically.
I see. Any other comments, questions about Gotchinopoly? I think you overwhelmed us all.
So sorry. Yeah, I know.
I suck at Monopoly, but I try.
How are you trying to implement the multiplayer part of it?
That's what I'm trying to figure out right now still. In my mind, the way I kind of want to build it is, I don't know if you guys remember this game called Warcraft 2, Battle.net, where basically you create a room. You can either make it private or public. In the Google Docs, there's a link to the Figma, so you can actually go to it and you can kind of see a rough draft of how the beginning UI is going to be. But essentially, yeah, a creator can go in there, either create a room or join a room. When you create a room, you put a name on it. You enable how many players you want to have in the room. Do you want any computers to play against you? And then when you set it, your friend comes in, basically finds the room name, enters it. Like say you can put a password on it or not. If the friend wants to go in the room, he goes in there. Then you start the round, pretty much.
I just find it tricky because I don't really want to spend like a lot of money on servers and stuff like that. So I was trying to figure out what the best way is to host a multiplayer game.
Yeah, like I said, I guess that part is so far down my roadmap right now. Like I haven't even put a thought into the cost of it. I just want to see if I could get this to work or not.
Anyone else? Okay, then Inunmai, are you ready to present?
So Aavegotchi came out of the last hackathon. I was working on a project, an MVP in Phaser. I'm a Unity dev, so I wanted afterwards to port it to Unity so I could do more stuff in it. But what I realized is that when I started doing stuff in Unity, it is actually very complicated because Unity doesn't have really great support for SVGs, and Aavegotchi is mostly just SVGs, right? So then I started building, started thinking of different ways to work with that and work around it. And at first I was importing SVGs offline and then changing them into bitmaps and then trying to layer them. And as I dug more and more into the Aavegotchi protocol for how they are rendered on chain, it's actually pretty complicated. So I was thinking a lot more people could probably use this. Another aspect of it was the connecting wallets. So if you wanted to, make an iPhone game on Android game and stuff like that, it's also pretty complicated to figure out how to set it up. So I wanted to put that all into one place. So what I've been working on lately is I got all that together, and I'm trying to put a whole bunch of different examples so people can just check it out and see what if they need to do something in their game, they can just use the examples as the starting point.
Awesome. Sounds really great. And it makes sense to now focus on demos and documentation, so to increase adoption. I like it a lot.
Yeah, there's still like a lot of bugs with rendering, like certain items and stuff have exceptions, and I'm just trying to like deal with all that kind of stuff too.
Any other comments? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, if anyone's interested in trying it out for the hackathon, that'd be pretty
cool. All right, any other comments? Doesn't look like it, so let's move on. I think the next one is from PG and FIFO.
Yeah. PG, you want to, or I do it as you want? Tell me. Okay, looks like he's mute. So the project we are working on with PG is called Gotchi Swap. Basically, the idea is just to provide a trustless smart contract-based way to do some OTC trades between members of the community. We have all been to this case where you find a deal with someone in the Gotchi somewhere in the Aavegotchi Discord, and then you have to go through someone that is doing the role of like the escrow system. So someone sends him a Gotchi or the assets, whatever, the other one sends the GHST, and then this third party is then going to complete the transaction. And PG has this idea. He talked to me about it some time ago. It never went to the end. It was just an idea, but I told him I would be very happy to participate with this project with him. And then when the Voltron Hackathon was announced, we decided it was a nice, how can I say, it kicked the project. It started it in a way. So we've been working on this thing for like 2 weeks. We created a small roadmap. The idea is that we want to be able to deliver something this month, so we still have 1 week to go. The V1 version will just be able to do some OTC trades on single assets, portal or Gotchis. And then we want to add some features like be able to also trade wearables, trade bundle of assets of whatever the kind you want. And eventually the most complex one would be instead of trading assets versus GHST, would be to trade assets versus assets. So PG is working on the smart contract part. I'm working on the UI part. We had some issues this week because as the contract is going to hold some assets from sometimes, and people will transfer assets to the contract, so they will have to trust it works correctly. And then the assets, when the transaction is done, the assets will come back. Or if you cancel your OTC, the assets come back to you. But the thing is, PG wanted to be able to test it on Mumbai. And basically, it's been kind of an issue if you want to test something on Mumbai on the Aavegotchi ecosystem. I mean, there is no documentation. A lot of things are not in good shape or they are not up to date. So we decided yesterday that we have been wasting enough time trying to be cautious with that. So we will deploy on the mainnet directly. But it is, we'll see if we are confident enough to publicly release the project by the end of next week. If we have tested enough, it will be the case. If we think we haven't tested enough, in that case, maybe there will be like a password protected access for the first week. We'll see. We would like the contract to be peer reviewed by at least one person of the ecosystem. Ideally, I would say.
Maybe I can add some things. Thanks, Fifu, for the presentation. In fact, what we'll do is we'll make the contract upgradable and have some admin functions, which means it kind of break the trustless aspect of the contract. But for the MVP, I think it will be fine. And if so, we will test it with our assets, of course, but if others want to test, they will have to be aware of that limitation. So it will be in a trustful fashion with the admins. Eventually, we will renounce that contract and either remove the admin or make it a community multisig. That can be decided later, but since we cannot really test on Mumbai, it was not an option to have an immutable contract for the development portion of the project. I don't know if I can talk a bit about the state of Mumbai, because I think it's maybe it's more a general topic, and we can discuss it later, but for Aavegotchi to be developer friendly, I think having a functional testnet is of the utmost importance. And right now it is not. So if anybody has portals, gotchis, wearables on Mumbai with the new daemon that was deployed for the porch testing, then we could use those if you can lend them. That's about it. Thanks.
Okay, very nice project. I think everyone in Bazaar will be cheering for you guys. I feel like it's something that the community has needed for some time. Personally, I don't have these assets with the new contract on Mumbai, but yeah, feel free to shout out in the hackathon channel or wherever to get some. I think Mumbai as a topic itself is too much for this meeting right now. We still have a couple things to go through. But yeah, any comments about the project from the audience?
For it, I do plenty of back alley deals in the DMs, so I would love to see something like this be built so I don't have to do that anymore. And I would definitely be down to throw a few quick common wearables if we need to test on mainnet. I'd be more than happy to do that.
Thanks, mate.
Will it be possible to swap against the Glitter or Alchemica?
No, right now you can only swap versus GHST. So, but yeah, if some people, if there is a real need for one feature that is not in our roadmap and that it gets traction from users, it's technically possible, I would say. Yeah.
That's a good question. Eventually, it will be any asset against any asset. So you could even like make a mix of Glitter and Alchemica against a bundle of other assets, or things like that. But at first, it would be only against GHHC. It's in the roadmap to have multiple assets.
Sounds good.
The UI will use the new Aavegotchi visual identity. more or less, I would say, because I'm not a very good designer, but I try.
I think the screenshot already looks very appealing.
Did my best, my very best.
All right, any further comments? Doesn't look like it. So we have one more project by Alvi. We already shouted it out earlier, but looks like he's not online. But yeah, let's have a look at it together. I'm just gonna read it here. Chainmon description. Chainmon is an enthralling game that pays homage to the beloved classic Pokemon series. Just like the iconic Pokemon games, Chainmon features 1 versus 1 battles where strategic decision-making is key. Each player selects a predetermined number of Aavegotchis from their collection to join the battle. Each Gotchi has 4 movements. These movements are assigned based on the rarity and the side of the curve for each trait, resulting in a staggering 1 of 9 possible movements per trait. There is going to be a pool of 36 movements randomly allocated to different rarity levels of curve traits. Every Aavegotchi trait, also known as Spirit Force, every Aavegotchi type, also known as Spirit Force, holds strengths and weaknesses against other types. With a circular design, it ensures that no single type reigns supreme, promoting balancing and engaging gameplay. Moreover, the game mechanics adopt the classic damage formula tailored to leverage the full potential of the protocol. Most of the assignments, like movements and type strength, are going to be assigned randomly using Chainlink VRF. The technologies that are going to be used are TypeScript Solidity and Coalescence for the backend, as well as Unity or Phaser for the client, and it involves Alvi and friends. Any thoughts or comments? Well, I think it's a really cool game. I like Pokemon, and this having something like that with Aavegotchi seems nice. I wonder, like, he's not here to answer any questions, but maybe if he listens to the recording, I don't know. I wonder if like how do you implement the collection part of it? Because we already have Gotchis, and if it's just the battling mechanic, then we already have a Gotchi battler by Zygo. Then we are currently also having a fund going for Immaterial's Gotchi battler, and I think there was one more Gotchi battler or type of game in the submissions. I think it was from Level or Level. So yeah, I'm just curious about the details, how it would make things differently. Anyone else? Comments or thoughts about the project? It doesn't look like it. Okay, so then we can move on to the next top of our agenda, which would be to continue and finally conclude on our discussion about rewards for the Voltron Hackathon. A short summary of what happened so far is that there have been various ideas about how to reward submitted projects and MVPs, and judging from the previous meetings, it seems that so far we have a consensus of a 3-tiered system. Basically, if you submitted your project description in time and you submit something at the end of the hackathon that resembles your project description, then you will receive a minimum reward. We'll still have to discuss what that reward would be, but sounded from previous meetings that it would be about 500 ghost plus minus 100 or something. And then if you could prove that you actually worked your ass off but still couldn't get it to work, then we don't want to discourage you. So in that case, there would be a consolidation prize, and it was suggested that that would be 100 ghost. But you would have to show that you actually put in some work and have to explain where your roadblock was that prevented you from getting further. And then the third tier would be that we have a large panel, basically everyone who participated in Voltron, and each of us gets like 5 or 10 votes. I mean, 10 doesn't make sense because we only have 10 submissions. So let's say everyone gets between 3 to 5 votes, and then it's like stickers, and you stick your vote to the project that you like the best, and then at the end we weigh some leftover pool of ghost against how many stickers you got. And we also thought about inviting some guests in quote to this panel, which would include some people from Pixelcraft. And yeah, these 3 tiers are basically what we talked about so far, and what seemed to have consensus. There was also a suggestion by the Thrive team itself. They suggested having the higher tier based on successful signal proposals and core proposals, but that idea didn't really get traction in the last meeting because those proposals to the DAO, those funding proposals, are really independent of the hackathon itself, and I'm not so sure that it's wise to incentivize people to submit all their funding proposals at the same time. I doubt that the DAO would look favorable on that. So yeah, any thoughts on the topic from the audience?
I can speak on the ThriveCoin side. At the last meeting, we kind of discussed this particular thing pretty thoroughly. So we're on board with the panel of judges and doing the final reward. What we had in mind was we were going to get 1 or 2 members from the Thrive technical team, somebody from Pixelcraft, somebody from Tab, one of the more technical members, hopefully Chair. He has the most contract experience for the people writing smart contracts. And then we wanted to try to get Nick Mudge, if possible, if he's around, or possibly have Diddley. He seems to be busy. I don't know if he's around, but he seems to be a good community dev as well. So that was our ideas for judges on the panel. And then for the prize pool, since we have 10 projects, we would be doing, if we're doing the 500 ghosts, that works out to 5K ghosts. So that works out. We had allotted 10K. There was no solid number, but it doesn't look like the Thrive Season 2 rewards are going to be impeding in any way, and in the way that we reward Voltron Hackathon people. There's only 500 ghosts earned so far this season, so there's quite a bit of wiggle room still. So yeah, if you guys want to reward the final prize, the sticker part, the votes, with another 5K pool, that would work with the number we were already thinking about.
So was that number just for season 2 or for season 2 and 3 together?
Well, that's you're right. We won't even have much working stuff to reward in season 2. I mean, we could probably reward MVPs even larger, but we got to talk in Thrive about that, because there is a lot of room there, and Thrive had specifically stated they want to try to give it as much of it away as possible, and that makes sense.
So something I had in mind, because in one of the last meetings, one of the questions that came up was if people could submit the same project twice. And first of you might wonder what this question even is, but it makes sense if you think about it. If you have something ready to submit right now, but you still want to work on it and make it better. And for that reason, I think that it would maybe make sense to have just one voting round at the end of season 3 that would include all the projects from season 2 and season 3. So you would have the basic rewards at the end of season 2 for whoever submitted in season 2, but the next higher tier with the voting would be at the end of the whole hackathon, or at least of season 3. And then everyone would be able to show the best version of their project. And so since that would be at the end of season 3, it would also include the funds that we could use in season 3. So yeah, it would be cool if we could maybe bump up the 5K for the extra goals to maybe 10K. So that would come out to a total of 15K over 2 seasons, which would be half of what's allotted for the Thrive rewards. Yeah, but just a thought.
Yeah, we definitely wouldn't be able to use this all up to reward people now in season 2. I don't think we're going to have a bunch of working MVPs to reward anyway in the next 8 days. Which is fine. So we will have to kick the can down the road in that way. And that's also what I was thinking, is have the judging at the end of season 3. How this is going to look with Thrive, I do not know. I guess that's something we have to discuss. Because we're going to have so many leftover rewards in season 2. I don't know how, if we can just easily say, now there's season 3 rewards going towards the Voltron Hackathon. I don't really know, but it'll definitely be discussed, and I would think that it's doable, so we can just move that whole prize pool down to season 3.
Yeah, I think it might be a good move because, as I said earlier, PG and I, we plan to deliver something by the end of this month. But in the end, if we are almost... last time I asked a question and no one really answered if there are any other teams that are going to be ready to ship something for the next week. So basically, if we are the only one shipping something for this month, I don't see how to assemble a panel of judges for just one project and something like that. I think it is pointless. So yeah, if it's to be delivered, we will deliver something this month anyway. But if the judge panel just assembles and give rewards at the end of August, I think it makes sense if there is nothing really to judge on at the end of July.
Great. I agree with all of that. So that's what I'm going to push for in Thrive, is that we move the leftover rewards from season 2 into a pool for the hackathon judging at the end of season 3, as well as try to bump up the MVP rewards.
But just to be clear, there will be some review of MVPs at the end of the month anyway, even if it's just for the 500 GHST, there will not be any additional prizes this month. All rewards based on votes will be at the end of August for Season 2 plus Season 3 project. Yes?
That's the
If you
idea.
have a working MVP submitted, that would be the idea, is that you can get 500 this month.
Okay. And then we will resubmit a more polished, complex version by the end of August with more features for the judge panel.
Exactly.
Okay. It's good for me.
Okay, any other thoughts on rewards, or are we finally having something that everyone agrees with after 3 meetings?
I think we're good. Like I said, on the Thrive side, it should be flexible enough, so we shouldn't have an issue.
Awesome. Okay, then the last topic of today's meeting was just miscellaneous. Anyone got anything that they want to discuss?
I think the subjects that raised PG regarding Aavegotchi testnet situation is maybe it's not for this meeting, but it will have to be addressed one way or another. Because I get it that Pixelcraft Energy right now is focused, I would say, move to a Gotchi chain in the next 6 months, as Yannick said, so let's say end of this year, start of next year. And I get it that they are not going to put some energy in Mumbai right now to make it workable again. It's totally normal. But I think when Gotchi chain is coming, there should really be a focus on having a Gotchi chain testnet that is really available, because there's a lot of resources right now available in the ecosystem. If you just want to start a project that uses existing contracts, that uses existing subgraph and so on, subgraph are there. There's the Aavegotchi wiki. You can find the list. You go on the dev channel. There's a lot of people that are going to help you, and it's all good. But as soon as you want to write your own contracts and interact with the Aavegotchi contract, as soon as you want to do those kind of things, basically in terms of resources that are available, you kind of hit a wall that we hit this week, and it was not extremely pleasant, I would say. So we are dealing with it. We're going to deal with it. It's going to be fine. But clearly, there's not that much people that have wrote some contracts that interact with the ecosystem. Some people wrote some pettings, some compounders. The Forge was maybe the biggest project that was... Well, it was not on top of the ecosystem because it was part of the protocol itself. But apart from those 3 to 4 type of things, there was not much, and the reality is that if you want to do something like that, resource is lacking. So I think it should be addressed. Pixelcraft should think about addressing that when a Gotchi chain is coming up, and they should know about it.
Yeah, it's definitely an important topic, and maybe we should just put this on the agenda for the next meeting and try to find out if we can make some progress on it, maybe get some help from Pixelcraft regarding this.
ThriveCoin can make some rewards like in Q4 or in the start of 2024 for a team dedicated to putting all together all the resources and making sure that everything is available and ready if someone wants to build something on the Gotchi chain. I think it could be an interesting target also.
Right. Just before I forget, one more thing that we forgot about, which is the deadline for submission for this month. So since you guys may be the only ones who are going to submit, would you need the full month? Because that would make it hard for us to then schedule a meeting to judge it. Or would you be able to hand it in by morning of 29th? Then we wouldn't need an extra meeting.
Let me check.
Because the next meeting is Saturday morning. Well, at least in my time zone.
Yeah, I will start my holidays next weekend anyway. So we do our best, and I hope we can submit on 29.
That would be awesome, because then we could just judge it in the following meeting. Then we don't need to schedule anything extraordinary.
Yeah. We do our best. I think it's well. Anyway, I can't work next weekend on the project, so it has to be finished by Friday evening on my side.
Awesome.
Yeah, fine for PG2, so we should be fine.
All right. Any other topics, miscellaneous topics that you guys want to talk about? There is something that I wanted to bring up, maybe just as a teaser for now, and then have it also be part of one of the next agendas. During the last DAO call, there was quite a lot of favorable talk for developers, and also some questions regarding the DTF, ATF funding, and so on and so forth. This has also been a topic in the Voltron Hackathon regarding funding and how to continue. And I just wanted to ask if right now in the audience, do we have anyone here who was at some point or another part of the ATF or the DTF? Okay, I see Oliver was on the extended DTF. So that's nice to know that we have at least some overlap here between members. Because I think it makes sense that if we as a DAO decide, hey, it would be awesome to revive these projects, then we as Voltron Hackathon community, maybe it makes sense that we get involved with that as well. Just a thought.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We should. It's a good idea.
I agree. We're supposed to be an oasis for developers, or at least that's how we promote ourselves. And that's like part of PC's shtick when they promote Aavegotchi. So the DAO needs to follow up on their end with that thing, or nothing's going to get built besides the Gotchiverse.
Right. I think I'm gonna try to track down some ATF members. I don't even know if it's a thing that is in the past, like, or if they are still active. But yeah, getting involved there would probably be good, so that we can have everything basically under one roof. And because in the DAO meeting, I had the feeling that people didn't really know what we are doing. So just a general exchange of ideas and information would be great, I think, and needed. Yeah, if there's nothing else, then I think that's it. Very awesome and productive meeting. We got through everything. But yeah, if there's anything else, let us know. We have PG typing here. Maybe we wait for him to finish. Ah, awesome. It's an ATF member. Okay. Yeah, but maybe we discuss it next time. Awesome, but good to know. Yeah, then thank you everyone for coming and for participating. And yeah, have an awesome Sunday.
Bye, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Have a nice day. Bye.
Goodbye.
Yeah, take care.